Spring 44, France. The fields were quiet, the birds sang, and in the distance, tanks rolled across the countryside. Except there were no tanks. The soldiers manning them weren't hardened warriors, they were artists, set designers, sound engineers, and fashion illustrators. They belonged to one of the strangest, most secret units in military history, an army that fought with paint, sound, and imagination. Their mission, to fool the Germans into fighting ghosts. This is the untold story of the Ghost Army of World War II, the artists who turned deception into a weapon and whose creativity saved thousands of lives. In 1943, the Allies were preparing for the final push into Europe, but they faced a deadly problem: how to invade Nazi-occupied territory without letting the enemy know where the real attack would strike. Across the Atlantic, a group of young American artists were about to be drafted: painters, architects, admin, sound designers, even fashion illustrators. Instead of rifles, they would be handed brushes, speakers, and rubber. The U.S. Army called it the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. Officially, it didn't exist. Unofficially, it was one of the most creative and dangerous units in the entire war. Their orders came from the highest level: use deception to mislead the German army, make them believe Allied forces were where they were not. And they did it with a mix of art, sound, and theater. The Ghost Army's first weapon wasn't steel, it was rubber. They created life-sized inflatable tanks, jeeps, and artillery guns made of canvas and air. From a distance, they looked real, complete with shadows, markings, even fake mud splatters. In the hands of these artists, war became a stage. They would drive into a field at night, inflate an entire armored division by morning, and move it again the next day, creating the illusion of massive troop movements where none existed. They painted fake roads, camouflage nets, and decoy airfields, all to fool German reconnaissance planes. One soldier later joked, "We were the only unit in history where you could go into battle armed with nothing but a paintbrush and a pump." But it wasn't just visuals. Sound was their secret weapon, too. To complete the illusion, the Ghost Army needed more than fake tanks. They needed noise. They worked with engineers from Bell Labs to record real sounds of tanks, trucks, and artillery on massive 500-pound wire recorders. At night, they blasted those sounds from giant loudspeakers mounted on half-tracks. Each recording could be mixed to make it seem like hundreds or even thousands of vehicles were on the move. A single sound unit could project noise up to 15 miles away. The result: entire German divisions repositioned to fight an army that didn't exist. One officer recalled, "You could close your eyes and swear a full armored column was rolling past, but when you opened them, there was nothing there but speakers." Many of these men came from art schools and creative studios back home. Some were already famous, like Ellsworth Kelly, who would later become one of America's great abstract painters. Others were illustrators for Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, ad designers for Madison Avenue, or theater set builders from Broadway. In France, they used those same talents, sketching enemy positions, designing camouflage, and painting massive decoy backdrops that could fool German pilots. They called themselves the Cecil B. DeMille Warriors, after the famous Hollywood director, because every operation felt like a movie set. Except here, the explosions were real, and one mistake could mean death. Their first major mission came in Normandy, shortly after D-Day. The Allies were pushing inland, but the front line was unstable. The Ghost Army's job, to make the Germans think an entire U.S. division was preparing to strike elsewhere. Under cover of night, they rolled out hundreds of inflatable vehicles, laid fake tire tracks, and broadcast recorded radio chatter, pretending to be the 6th Armored Division. They even staged fake campfires, used counterfeit unit patches, and drove painted jeeps through villages just to sell the illusion. When German reconnaissance planes flew overhead, they saw exactly what the Allies wanted them to see: a massive army forming up for battle. The ruse worked. The Germans redirected troops, and the real Allied attack went unchallenged. Dozens of soldiers' lives were saved by rubber and sound. As the war dragged on, the Ghost Army carried out more than 20 deception missions, from Normandy to the Rhine. Their final act came in March 1945 as Allied forces prepared to cross the Rhine River into Germany. The operation, codenamed Viersen, was their masterpiece. They impersonated 2 full divisions, 30,000 men, using only 100 artists. They built fake bridges, staged convoys with flashing headlights, and blasted hours of pre-recorded engine noise. Meanwhile, real divisions quietly crossed the Rhine 10 miles away, completely unnoticed. The Germans took the bait. Art had defeated armor. One general later said, "They were the most dangerous soldiers we had because they fought with illusion, and no one could see them coming." For decades, no one spoke of the Ghost Army. Their missions were classified until the 1990s. The men returned home, scattered back into the world of art, design, and advertising. Many of them went on to become celebrated artists. Their war sketches, once used to plan illusions, now hung in museums. But for years they carried a secret, that they had fought not with bullets, but with imagination. They had risked their lives not to kill, but to save. Their creativity misled entire German armies, diverted attacks, and protected tens of thousands of Allied soldiers. When the records were finally declassified, historians were stunned. The Ghost Army had conducted more than 20 full-scale tactical deceptions, often right on the front line, sometimes just a few hundred yards from enemy positions. They had lost men, artists who died not holding guns, but inflating tanks under enemy fire. Their bravery was real, even if their army was not. In 2013, the U.S. Congress honored them with a special citation for unique and highly distinguished service, but for many years the world didn't know their names. They were the soldiers who fought invisibly, whose best victories were the ones no one ever saw. The Ghost Army's methods inspired decades of modern military strategy, from inflatable decoys in the Cold War to digital disinformation campaigns today. Their legacy lives on. But beyond warfare, their story reveals something deeper, that creativity can be as powerful as force, and imagination can save lives as surely as courage. One veteran put it best. "We were asked to turn war into theater, and we did, but the price of failure was death." Today, in museums across America, you can still see the sketches, the photos, the fake insignias, the remnants of an army that never truly existed. A painted tank, a rubber jeep, a canvas backdrop torn by shrapnel. Every mark tells the story of artists who stood on the front lines, armed only with creativity. They fought with deception, with sound and color, with courage and wit. They proved that art can be more than expression. It can be a weapon of hope. In a war defined by destruction, they fought by creating. They made the enemy chase shadows and follow ghosts. They saved lives with lies and ended battles before they began. The Ghost Army of World War II, an invisible force of artists, painters, dreamers, and storytellers who showed that even in war, art can be mightier than the sword.